Hello teachers, this is TEACHERNICA and welcome once again to our vlog. In today's vlog, I'm going to share with you guys some of my tips in handling the 5 minutes discussion or 5 minutes topic talk here in Native Camp, and even as a private teacher handling 5 minutes topic talk. And without further ado, let me share with you guys this lesson in 3, 2, 1, let's start. So as I was saying, this is a 5 minutes discussion lesson. So here are the 5 tips that I would like to share with you guys. Let's start with the number 1. Number 1 is a short introduction. In having classes, it is always important to have a short introduction. The reason is that this is when you build up rapport with your student. At the same time, this will also help you get to know your student if they are your new student, and also know how was your student. So when you start your lesson, do not immediately start with asking the student on what topic they want to talk about based on the 5-minute discussion. Don't proceed to that one immediately. First, ask them how was their day today, what's the reason they are having this lesson, and what interesting things happened on that day, or did they have any plans in that day. Let's say you have a lesson early in the morning and you want to ask your student what they are about or planning ahead after the lesson or the day after the lesson. So you may ask simple random questions like that as a short introduction or a short conversation with your student, just to make your student feel at ease with your lesson. Second tip, make sure that you let the student pick a topic, and make sure that that topic is, let's say, the interested topic, or your student is really interested with that topic. Let's say in a 5-minute discussion, for example, earlier I had a lesson with a 5-minute discussion with a student, and we talked about food. Okay, so since the student picked the word food, don't immediately proceed to the question. Okay, that's the common misunderstanding of other teachers. Once it's a 5-minute discussion, they will proceed immediately to the topic or the questions provided. Do not do that, okay? Let's build up rapport with our student. In a way, let's say the topic is food. Okay, that's good that you have chosen food as a topic. Let's say, what did you had for breakfast? Let's say it's morning and you had the class. What did you had for breakfast earlier today? Or what's your favorite food? Something like that. Even though it's part already of the questions or the lists of questions, make sure to ask that first before the actual question, just to make sure that the student feel at ease in answering your questions. Okay? Aside from that, if let's say your student doesn't have any prepared topic or any interested topic for them that they want to choose, so kindly choose a topic that is, or that you think is good for you personally. Let's say something that you feel comfortable talking about. Okay, avoid questions that is or topic that is a bit complicated for you. Let's say you prefer to talk about traveling. Other topic that is a bit difficult for you is about economy, so avoid choosing that kind of topic. Avoid choosing economy if you don't like that topic. Pick the one that is good for you. Okay, because the student would like something to talk about wherein you are also comfortable with. Our student wants us to be comfortable also. So choose a topic not based on the day. That's okay. Actually, sometimes if I feel too easy with all of the questions or the topics, I just based on the day. Let's say today is 15. So I will pick the number 15 number 15 topic. Let's say the topic is about traveling, and then we will talk about it. That's okay. But let's say your favorite number, that's also okay. But make sure before you say the number of the topic to your student, make sure that you know the topic first. Let's say you give first the number to the student. You said number 10, topic number 10, and then the number 10 is about, let's say, politics, and you have no idea about politics, or you are not interested about politics. So you will not feel comfortable talking about it. Therefore, make sure first that you know the title of or the topic itself before telling the student about it. Okay? The third tip is ask the question in a way that you are having a conversation. Avoid asking the question like reading it. Like, okay, next question number 1 is blah blah blah. What is your favorite food? Okay, supporting question. That's a good one. The supporting question is this. You like soup. What kind of soup do you like? Clear or not? Or clear soup or not? Something like that. Do not do that. Okay? Ask the student, okay, based on your answer, you like soup. And my question is, what kind of soups do you like? Do you like clear one or blah blah blah? What kind of, let's say, fish do you like? Because sometimes our student will just say, I like fish. Okay, in what way or how would you like your fish cooked? Would you like it to be fried? Would you like it? Give these student options. Therefore, they could explain themselves. Okay? Make sure that you're having a conversation with a friend and not merely reading the question. Because if you just read the question, it would be very boring for the student. They would just respond and then, okay, next again, check again the sentence, and then it will not be a conversation at all. Though it seems to be a conversation, but I assure you, your student will not go back and book your class again or attend your class again in a 5-minute discussion. They will not be satisfied in how you handle the lesson if you're just going to read the questions. So let's avoid that, okay? Next step, we have here number 4, provide follow-up question based on the student answer. So as I have stated earlier, so do not merely proceed to the suggested or the supporting question. Because in native camp or in, let's say, you don't have any supporting question, but in native camp, let's say there's a supportive question, something like that, wherein there's a supporting question, follow-up question. So if you have that follow-up question and you just read that to your student, it's not that good, okay? Because the student will not hear any connection with his or her answer to your question. Make sure that it is still connected. Let's say you asked about traveling and which country does she like, or which country did the student like. So let's say the student said it was, let's say, Taiwan. Okay, so why Taiwan? That's the follow-up question. Why Taiwan? Or why that country? So don't say immediately why. Ask the student, how was your experience in Taiwan? Don't immediately ask, and why? Okay, what is the best country for you and why? Avoid that. Ask the question first, and then after the student answer, give you the reason, and then support it with another question. And let's say your student explained that the most memorable country for him or her is, let's say, America. Okay, our student says America. Wow, that's good. What memory did you had in America? Okay, or let's say your student talked about the memory, and then let's say that is a good memory for the student. Let's ask the student something that is opposite. Let's ask the student, how about the worst experience? Did you had any worst experience while you're in America, or while you are in that country? Something like that. Do not proceed immediately to this follow-up question provided by the website. Okay? Provide a question that you made up. Okay? And then let the student respond. And also react with the student's answer. Let's say, that was a funny one. I also experienced something like that before. And I also have the same experience. Something like that. Do not lose the connection with your student with just proceeding to the next question. Because if we proceed to the next question, sometimes the connection with the student will, let's say, we will lose that one. The student will, okay, next topic again. Okay, the teacher proceed with the next topic, and yeah, I'll just answer the question. It's more like an interview instead of a conversation. So don't do that. Next, let's say here, correct or type the student's word, or let's say your student forgot the word, you may say it. Okay, you may say the correct word, and at the same time, do not just say it, type it also in the chat box. Write the word. For example, last student that I had, we talk about sleep. Okay, the topic is about sleep, and she wants to explain something about changing the, let's say, changing his or changing her body clock, and she forgot what is the word body clock. So she was like completely like say something like blah, blah, blah. And then you see that the student has really did have this difficulties in answering, providing you with a word. Say the word to the student, okay? Because it will be easier for your student to find new vocabulary words provided by you instead of the actual lesson. Okay, don't base 100% on the lesson. You are a teacher for a reason. Your purpose there is to provide vocabulary words, suggestions, so provide that to your student. Provide the student with suggestion, give the student a word, a vocabulary word that would be helpful for him or her, and then send it in the chat box. Or let's say the sentence is kind of rumbled up, the student didn't fix the sentence well, then you may fill in the, let's say, the words or the correct grammar structure with in terms to the answer of the student. In native camp, there's this correction, so you may correct there the student. But if you are a private teacher, you may simply send, let's say, an equal sign notifying the student that this is the correct sentence, or avoid typing the missed or the wrong sentence instead, and then write immediately the correct one. But I think it is way better to write the wrong to the correct sentence. Wrong and then correct sentence, because some of my students really prefer to write the wrong sentence first and then the correct sentence afterwards. But there are some students who doesn't like that also. They just want the answer immediately. So you can do both, okay? Just based on how your student would react, on how you send the message and how you provide the feedback. Next, let your student know your personal response to the question. Let's say the question is about what is your dream country? Okay, what is your dream country? And your student says Japan. So you also have the same interest. Then also tell your student, I also like Japan actually. That's a good thing to hear from you. And then the student will ask you, why do you like Japan, teacher? And then you will answer, of course, that this is your reason because of their culture, maybe the food, you may say that. Or let's say you talk about manga, and then the student will have the same interest. She will also tell you about her or his interest. Then you will have an actual conversation, because again, 5-minute discussion is not a lesson in a way wherein you will simply ask the question and the student will provide the answer. No, it is a conversation with a topic. Your student just want to have a conversation with you, but they prefer with a fixed topic. Okay, next, of course, be friendly and make sure, this is the last one by the way, be friendly and make sure that you're making the class comfortable. Let's avoid being too professional in a way like we are pretending to be an interviewer. Okay, we are not the interviewer and our student is not an interviewee. Let's avoid that. let's have a lesson where the student will feel comfortable like they are talking to a friend. They're talking to a friend with a specific topic, wherein, because if your student actually feels too comfortable with the lesson, they will forget that your topic is food or your topic is about traveling, because you will jump to another conversation topic and then you will jump to another one, and then that will be a follow-up with regards to your previous question and then another one. So if your student have that experience with you, that means that they are comfortable. Keep on doing that, okay? Because that's how they are, or that's how comfortable the student must be. Next, this is an additional, or this is a bonus one. So if you are having a class, okay, let's say you have a 5-minute discussion, and let's say you are too far already from the topic, and it seems that you don't have further question about that topic with your student, and you want to go back to the original topic, you may ask, or you may politely say to your student that, okay, that's a good response. Thank you very much for that conversation or for that interesting talk. How about let's continue with our topic? Let's have here another question for you. Something like that. Be polite as much as possible. Or you may say, oh, going back to the topic, okay, going back to the topic, this and that. Or you may say, thank you for sharing about your experiences. How about this, about the topic, blah, blah, blah. Okay, you may go back to that. As much as possible, smile so that your student will not be offended. Because if, let's say, you conducted the lesson, but with a poker face, no emotion at all, that would be awkward for the student, because it seems that the student is having an interview instead of a class. So let's avoid that, okay? Well, I guess those are the tips that I could share with you guys, and I hope personally that you find this video helpful for you guys, especially for native camp teachers. Though there are some problems where we don't have a lot of bookings, it's normal. If we encounter lesser booking or lesser rating, that means that there's still room for our improvement. Continuously improve our skills through handling a better class, practicing ourselves in handling the lesson, and of course, being more friendly to our student. Once again, this is Teacher Nika, and thank you for watching my video. See you again in our next vlog. Bye!